JMC Garage. This is John for the JMC Garage. And this week's JMC Garage video, unfortunately, you can probably hear it a little bit, but as the car was pulling in, we had an issue with the Mercury. Let's get into this. So, a little bit of backstory. My son has had this car for about, I would say 3 months now. Now, going into this, we bought this car knowing that it's going to be a decent car for him, thinking it would be. Of course, it has 126,000 miles on it, and we bought it for a really good deal for $2,000. Thought it was a good deal. One of the things I noticed was two things with the car that we knew going into it was, number one, it had check engine light, which I'm going to explain a little bit more what that's about. And then number two, well, also there was a couple other things, but number two was it needed tie rod ends. Every time you turn the wheel, it would knock, and you could actually feel that through the steering wheel. It turns out when you take the wheel off, or even with the wheel on, you can shake it back and forth, and you can hear that knocking, and it was a tie rod end. So we had those replaced. That was taken care of. One of the things I noticed when we first got into the car was the valve cover was leaking, which is pretty common for these older 2.5s. We did the valve cover, and while the valve cover was off, I did a video on that. We did the spark plugs as well. I don't think they were ever touched in 126,000 miles, still running the original Motorcraft or the Ford plug, so we did that. And the check engine light was for the cam sensor. So, of course, like any natural person does, you got a cam sensor check engine light for the camshaft position, and for it not be able to detect that it is a camshaft or where the camshaft position is. So it was two different codes, 340 and PO344. We decided to replace the camshaft sensor, which is very easy on the 2.5. It's right there. There's only one, since the intake cam is the only one that is variable as far as it's able to change position via a VVT solenoid and everything else. So we did that. Of course, naturally, I cleared the codes, did the startup. Next time we did the startup, the code came right back, or the two codes came right back. So that didn't take care of it. Well, I was reading online and some different things, and the next thing I did was replace the VVT solenoid. So the valve cover had to come off again in order to replace the VVT solenoid, which is right here just for the intake cam. Did that, cleared the codes, hooked it all back up. My son drove it. He said it drove amazing. Power was back, everything else. And then as soon as we started back up again, of course, the check engine light came back on. So beyond my realm of capabilities and what I can do here in the garage, I need further diagnosis. So in order to do that, I employed the help of a mechanic shop called Masterminds. They're located in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. They said they agreed to look at it. They also I also told them what the car was, also told them what the codes were, and they knew exactly how to go about and what tests to do. There are several things to do. Now, when you have a camshaft position sensor code, the alternator could be throwing that code off. Basically, by not putting out the correct voltage, it throws the computer off, and that could sense the code, or that could send the code as well. That wasn't the case. The alternator is actually good in this, which is great, because the alternator in this engine, it's one of the bad things about this engine, it's a little bit harder to get to. But that wasn't the case. So we did some further diagnosis, especially with computer equipment that I do not possess. You can go into the OBD2 port, look at values, see where things are at, to see how the computer is interpreting the signal coming from the sensor. I don't have that ability. I don't have that snap-on equipment, but that person does. So upon further investigation, they found out that after replacing the plug, doing the new wiring here, just to kind of take out all the variables, they went back to the computer, which is located behind the battery underneath the brake booster, that the computer is indeed getting the signal. First off, it's sending power to the sensor. It's getting the signal back, but once it gets the signal back, it dies. So what's happening is it's actually going to ground out with inside the PCM itself, which is not good. So what he believes is that the original sensor probably failed, and it failed in a way that when it failed, it actually sent twice the signal back to the computer. Well, that caused a short in the PCM, and now it's grounding out into the PCM. Where the PCM can do everything else, run the engine, do everything else it needs to, but it cannot sense that it's getting a cam position signal from the cam position sensor. So a new PCM was on order. Now, because this thing is not able to interpret the cam position on where it's at, by default, it'll lock out the cam on the intake side to 0 degrees. That is the default lockout. Unfortunately, at 0 degrees, this engine kind of runs in an Atkinson cycle. And because of that, you have no power in the mid-range. You either got to wind the thing out, or you got to take it very easy and you know, you got to kind of putt around, because there's no mid-range, especially in Atkinson cycle. There's absolutely no mid-range in this engine at all. So that's one of the things my son was running into. So they said, hey, look, we got to get a used computer. We got to get one from Florida. A shop has one. They can ship it to us. And once you get it installed, we got to VIN program it. We got to program the keys to it and make sure everything is all good. But that's what the issue is a PCM. I was like, all right, go ahead, order it. I know it's going to be like $700, $200 for the used PCM, another $200 for diagnosis, another $200 for install. I get it, and taxes and everything else. It's close to $700. I said, get it. Everything else with the car runs great. Engine runs great outside of, and has no power in the main. I mean, basically, especially when the air conditioning is on, it falls flat on its face. So my son was driving around the past 2 weeks, and just, you know, we made sure the oil was good and everything else. Oil has plenty of life in it. But unfortunately, there's only 2 modes with this car. It's either you're putting around or you're into the throttle all the way just to get anywhere. So he's been doing that, you know, taking on highway trips and whatnot and everything else. Well, he goes to pick up his mom one day, and I get a phone call as I'm heading home from work, and basically it's my wife saying his car's making some kind of rattling noise. I'm thinking, oh, it's probably the cat converter. Maybe the cat got loose, and when, you know, the substrate inside the cat converter got loose, and now it starts to rattle. I thought that was it. I heard it in the background a little bit. It definitely sounded metallic, at least through the phone. And I was like, it's all right. It's good. I'll check it out when I get home. So I checked it out when I get home, and let me show you what I found out. You probably heard it a little bit already. Yeah. So, oh, super. Don't worry about that. My wife's trying to come home. Anyway, what we found out is, from what all I can tell, that is a spun bearing, and the bearing is actually spun inside the engine. I don't know which cylinder it is. An easy way to tell that, which we're not going to do in this video, but an easy way to tell that is disconnect one of the spark plugs to find out which bearing is, or which, you know, connector rod is making that noise. So because of that, unfortunately, I'm not going to tear the engine apart or have a new engine put in this. I mean, the car is just not worth it. And with the way it's been running, having to get on it all the time, the engine's like, I'm done. I can't do anymore. Actually, when I first heard it, it was a lot worse than that. It gets a little bit worse when it warms up. I have put some Lucas engine oil stabilizer in it, knowing that the Lucas was a Band-Aid, just so we can get it as far as we can without it blowing a rod out the block. So that's where we're at with this thing. Unfortunately, you know, looking forward to doing more videos with this, but as of right now, we're just kind of trying to baby it along until we can get a new car for him, and he can save up enough money, because he poured so much into this with everything that's been done besides purchasing it, tie rod ends, the tune-up, and everything else, just for the rod to spin out. Or the bearings in the rod to spin out. Anyway, well, not really spin out, but regardless of which, that's the update on the Mercury. Unfortunately, we are going to have to probably, when he does get another car, probably scrap this. Um, Let me put it out there. If you're in the North Idaho area and if you want to buy a project car and if you feel like putting bearings in a perfectly good 2.5 that runs good, otherwise it still needs a computer as well. So you got to take that into consideration in order for this thing to run the way it should. That's where we're at with it. Everything else works in this car. I mean, the car is good body-wise. But, yeah. So, you guys be blessed. Thank you for tuning in. Please, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Can't wait to do more videos. We got more cars coming up, too, that we need to acquire and purchase and everything else. So, stay tuned. Please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.